Who doesn't love a great Cinderella story? A story of someone rising from rags to riches. Well, we hear the exact opposite of that in the saint we celebrate today, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, and in the figure of Zacchaeus, who we hear about in our gospel. People who go from riches to rags. And we're reminded in our first reading today, too, that people who are rich can be very poor in the things that matter to God. So in our gospel today, we hear about Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, who is a rich tax collector, and because he's short, goes up in a tree to see Jesus as he passes by. Jesus calls him down from the tree and says, "Zacchaeus, today I will dine in your house." And he is inviting Zacchaeus into relationship with him. Zacchaeus realizes that that means that he's going to have to give up something. And so he says, "Half of what I own I will give to the poor, and if I've extorted anyone, I shall give it to them in repayment." He comes down from the tree, humbles himself, and is generous. He gives what he has. Well, the saint we celebrate today, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, by the time she was 4, was already engaged to the then 9-year-old Prince Ludwig to become the next queen. Now, it's like every little girl's dream, already at age 4, to be the next queen. And she's a great example of someone who enters into this relationship, and then she falls in love with him. They start a family together. She becomes princess, but the family doesn't like her because they think she's excessively pious. She's a little too Catholic. She's a little bit too much. She even becomes a third-order Franciscan. And she likes to give, she likes to live out her faith and give what she has to the poor. Including when there's a famine, she opens up the royal storehouses and granaries to feed those who are most hungry. And that ticks off her in-laws. And so when her husband Ludwig dies at a very young age on a way to a crusade, her in-laws essentially kick her out of the house. On one wintry night when she has a newborn in hand, they kick her out of the royal house. And she has to find shelter, of all places, in a pig shed. She's eventually given a small cottage where she makes her living by spinning and by fishing, while also trying to raise her children. While in that, she goes and visits those who are homebound, those who are in hospitals, those who are infirm. She goes and visits them. She's a great example of, as she emptied herself, as she found richness in the richness of God. And we see in her example someone who humbles herself. Just like Jesus humbles himself, not in coming down from a tree, but going onto one, by going onto the cross for us, as Paul says, obediently accepting even death on a cross for us. That's where Jesus shows the depth of his love for us, the depth of his humiliation. And in doing so, he bestows us with the greatest richness possible of redeeming us, of making us sons and daughters of the King, or prince and princesses in his kingdom. So, princes and princesses that you are, look for those ways today to be like Zacchaeus, to come down from the tree, to help those most in need, that you might witness by your life the generosity of our great King, Christ. If you enjoyed this video, would you help us spread the good news of Jesus Christ by clicking subscribe down below? And hopefully we can get to 1,000 subscribers on our channel so that we can continue this mission of spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. Thanks.